Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. When Uhuru Kenyatta jetted into the country and went to Ukambani, where he was hosted by Kalonzo, he warned this government to stop using his name as a scapegoat. He came at a very precarious moment for the Kenya Kwanza government, when the cost of living is high and there is this oil deal scandal that has implicated Ruto's inner circle. And his warning did not go down well with the Kenya Kwanza staff, and they have decided to respond. They have decided to respond, and there's a choreographed blame game. There is a choreographed propaganda where they are now saying that it was Uhuru and Raila who are in this, in the oil business. They're saying that it is because of Uhuru's death, and they want Kenyans to believe them as if we are blind.
You look at the state of the books when you take over a company. You take a company that is in the red, you know what to do with it. You take a going concern, you know what to do with it. But us, we didn't have a choice. Kenya is ours. We took it the way it was because this is our country. If we had a choice, we would have looked for another company, not Kenya. Because of the huge debt portfolio through irresponsible borrowing. When we tell the story, because we are going to tell the story, people will be shocked. How $2 billion was taken from the central bank and put in a private bank that is responsible for the situation we are in, the weakening of the shilling. And people want to sit there, and we know what they did. And we had said, let bygones be bygones. But there's a good discussion. We are going to have a good discussion. We are putting the figures into place, who took what and where, so that the people of Kenya can know why we are in this shit and this mess. To be fair to everybody, how do people expect a government to fix a 10-year mess in 1 year? A mess of 10 years. Through state capture, conflict of interest, outright theft of public resources, irresponsible borrowing, misuse of public funds, misapplication of funds into useless legacy projects. And here we are. We must be truthful to the people of Kenya, because it's important that we be truthful to the people of Kenya. And when the people of Kenya finally know the truth, they will make a judgment, an assessment on who is right and who is wrong. But what I can assure you, the president and the rest of us are determined to fix this economy, and this economy we shall fix it. And there are good signs. And signs are, last year, for the first time in 8 years, at the closure of financial year at midnight on June 30th, we had given every cent owed to the county governments. And previously, we had arrears of 5 to 6 months for county governments, for years.
The reason why this can never be true is because we have archives. When the former Deputy President William Ruto was in the government and he was taking salary as a Deputy President, he was enjoying security as a Deputy President and all the privileges that were availed to the office of the President. I want us to look at this tweet, because this was William Ruto himself, where he said, "For every debt we contract, we have weighed the pros and cons, and we assure the country we are in a good place." That was William Ruto assuring Kenyans as they were taking all the huge loans. And they were said that they had scrutinized with all the financial experts, and they knew why they were taking all those loans. And according to him, they were getting into, good projects that would be beneficial to Kenyans, and he assured Kenyans that the country was in a good place. He cannot now turn around and negate his assurance to Kenyans. We cannot accept that he wants now to blame the previous regime as if he was not part and parcel of it. Listen to this interview where William Ruto was telling Kenyans that they are in this together with Uhuru Kenyatta because they were elected to push Kenya forward. And so should there be any mess, both of them should be blamed or will be blamed. And he was saying, forget all the managers and the CEOs. They were given the mandate to be in charge of the Kenyan affairs. And so if anything goes wrong, they are to blame. Listen to him.
Why should we trust you? We are supposed to trust the institutions, isn't it?
My friend, the fact that I am elected deputy president means the people of Kenya, if things go wrong in this government, President Uhuru Kenyatta and I will be the ones to be asked. Forget even about MD of, I don't know, some organization, cabinet secretary this and cabinet secretary that. Ultimately, the people that were given the mandate to run the affairs of this government by the people of Kenya is President Uhuru Kenyatta and I. Tell me for 1 minute, why, after the trust that people of Kenya put on me, why would I sit on national television and say something that's untrue? And to what gain and to what end?
So it is crystal clear that William Ruto was the deputy president. He knew very well that they were taking loans. He knew very well that as a government, there were better days where people would praise them and appreciate them for the good work, maybe connection of electricity, the infrastructure like roads and the SGR. And if you ask him, he takes political mileage out of it, and he takes credit and pride that they connected roads and all that. But when it comes to the huge loans, he wants to distance himself from it. And I think this is not the way to go. When they took over power, they promised Kenyans that they would not take loans. But we know that the IMF and the World Bank has given them more loans in 1 year that they've been in office compared to the period Uhuru was in office for 1 year. And if that is the projection that we are using, we are going to have even more loans, because I remember them saying that when you realize that you are in a hole, you stop digging. But it seems they have continued to dig. And one funny thing is that the loans don't come without conditions. The IMF and the World Bank has given them certain conditions.
You'll see Bill Gates come and meet your president. You'll see Tony Blair come and meet your president. You'll see Macron come and meet your president. You'll see all of them. And then they will never admit, but they'll be told, if you want money in agriculture, behave this way. If you want money in this area, behave this way. They will never tell that to the Chinese. They will never tell that to the Indians. They will never tell that to the Vietnamese. They will never tell that to the Koreans. But in Africa, they tell us. That is why, as I speak to you now, under this new scramble, the IMF and the World Bank are back, telling you who to hire in your universities, what to sell and what not to sell. It is a sad situation.
This is a report that just came the other day, that World Bank reveals new 1.8 trillion loans for Kenya. And just the previous week, the IMF also availed some loans. And the IMF told Kenyan government that they should do away with the subsidies, they should regulate the number of staff that they have. because they tell Kenyans that they have a huge road, a bloated, staff, and very soon we will witness retrenchment of staff. So they must not lie to us because Ruto was in the government. Number two, they have continued to take the loans that they said they would not take. If this government is serious, there is no amount of blame game that will fix this economy. They have been caught red-handed with their hands in the cookie jar. And so as they try to escape, they think that they can do that by blaming the previous regime. Let me ask you, the oil scandal that involved Njeri happened just a few months ago when Uhuru Kenyatta was not even in the country. And when Raila came up with the startling allegations or revelations that it was not a government-to-government deal, that is when they began to rattle, and they're now looking for who to blame. And they've realized that some Kenyans will always, swallow their lies when they blame Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And Raila has told them one thing, and this is one thing that we should really insist on as a Kenya Kwanza government. Instead of the blame game where Raila is saying this and you are also saying this, Kimani Ichung'wah is saying this, why can't they avail? It's simple. Why can't they avail the documents that were used to sign the deal between the government of Kenya and the Gulf nations? In the absence of those documents, then let them shut up. Because what they want to take us, to some blame game for some months so that we forget. They know that is how to do politics. You keep on coming up with new revelations, allegations, blame game, and then with the time something else would have happened and we forget about it. Kimani Ichung'wah has said that they want to form a commission of inquiry. He is coming up with this because Uhuru has resurfaced, and people are telling him, why can't you open this commission of inquiry? All we know is that sometimes back we were told that somebody wanted to kill Chebukati, and they were to form a commission of inquiry to investigate. Nothing has happened. You remember the container of blood and the special service unit that they were supposed to investigate and tell us who wanted to kill Chebukati? Nothing. Today we are being told that they want to investigate. They are more than 1 year into office and they cannot do this because they know it will even expose them more than any other person. It will expose how they took part in the running of the government together with Uhuru in 2022. This government believes that we are puppets. Whatever we are told today, we will accept. But Kenyans are wiser than that. Answer the question. In fact, they want to make us believe that there is a contest between Raila Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta and the government, which is not. 2027 is very far away. Each house is trying to put, its system in order, and we will talk about 2027 when we reach there. For now, William Ruto is taking a salary, security with all the privileges as the president of Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua is being maintained, his staff and everything, by taxpayers' money as a deputy president. So all this blame game will not help us. The government that is in place is William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. Let them fix it, because they said they had a plan. They blamed Uhuru during the campaigns. I'm putting it to them, they cannot afford to blame Uhuru now. I mean, this is too much. And we cannot buy this all the time. The blame game and the promise and all this, let them sit down and fix the economy, because they said they were going to fix it. Even if Uhuru stole money, let's just call it that way, are we going to talk about this forever? And if they know the people who withdrew money, I don't know, to some accounts like Rigathi Gachagua was saying, why can't they put somebody behind the bus? because they know very well that this is going to backfire. There are corrupt people in this government, and if they start looking for corrupt people, they will be told, start with yourself. Corruption is messing up our country. We cannot have a country where the cost of living is just too high. Yet some people are importing oil and putting that money in their pockets. And this is what is ailing them, because it is touching into the inner circle of Ruto's government. This has backfired because Kenyans will not accept it.